red hot is when people say like, all they care about is radar gun or these metrics or whatever. But there's a reason for that, and it's like people. If you're going to go into this world, it's their world.
Mm-hmm.
You're stepping into. They're setting the parameters. They're setting the rules. So if you want to join that world, you need to either play by the rules or break the system and create a new one. And none of these kids are breaking the system to create a new one. So that's the way it is. You have to play by their rules, and you have to give them something that they want. I think too many kids out there and athletes also think of it backwards. I know, like, one of the books we read was Obstacles the Way, and they talk about George Clooney as an actor. And, one of the things with Clooney was he couldn't get a job until he realized, like, he kept, like, thinking that they should just give him something, where then he realized, like, I need to show them what I can offer them. And then all of a sudden he started getting jobs because he was saying, I can make your life easier. I can give you something that you need to succeed. Where I don't think kids think about it that way. Like, you have to look back and say, what do I have right now that I can help their baseball team succeed in the future? And I think if these kids took an actual look in the mirror and some of the schools they wanted to play at, they'd realize, not that they can't get there, but right now at this point, maybe I'm not ready for that level. And if I want to be ready for that level, that's fine. But then I need to come up with a plan that gets me to that level.
Yeah.
Because when I was in high school, I was absolutely not ready to help a baseball team at the college baseball level.
Yep.
And I kind of knew that. And my coach was great, and he told me, he's like, you're not ready. He's like, you won't play. And then I realized I needed to get bigger. I needed to get stronger. And then I went to work and figured out how to do those things and had a decent career at the next level.
And
sorry.
No, that was awesome, man. That's exactly what I was saying. When you're results oriented and you're doing well when you're 14, 15, 16, that doesn't mean you're going to do well when you're 18, 19, 20. That's why being results oriented doesn't make any sense if you want to advance, right? Like, great, you got A's in this class. What are you going to do when you go to college? Great, you got 3 outs in an inning against some team in high school. What are you going to do in the SEC, right? And they don't look at it that way, which is why it's so important to be process oriented and just constantly worry about developing and becoming the best person you can possibly be. It's crazy.
Yeah, I won my 13U Domination tournament.
Right, yeah.
Duh.
I got the Bash at the Beach championship trophy. I don't know how
But that's even if you want to go down the results driven path, if we want to go down that road, the other thing I don't think they realize is the athletes that are getting recruited at these top schools, they put up Bugs Bunny numbers in those events. They're not going 5 innings with 4 hits and 2 runs and a couple walks.
7 innings, 18.
They give up like an infield single and that's it.
Yeah.
Like that, and they do that every single time. Like, that's the one thing I think that high school kids across the board don't really understand. Like, how good you really have to be. That's why 6% or whatever the number is only make it to that next level. This is not for everybody.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that to deter people from going for that, and that's a great goal. You want to be the best player of all time, Major League Baseball, that's great. But then you also need to look in the mirror and say, this is going to be really challenging. What do I have to do to get myself ready to play and excel at that level too? And I think it goes back to everything that, we always talk about as a group, is that, like Steve, you said, and you've been talking about on your streams, is like the process over the result. Like, just control what you can control. Like, you can't control who's going to show up to your games and all this stuff. You can't control what they think of you or what the umpire's going to do. Just go train like a monster. Come up with a plan that you truly believe in, not that someone's handing you, that you 100% believe in. Because that's, the other thing that we can probably leave this for another section. But, like, people find these guys online that say, like, oh, Mike Trout did this draw. So, like, oh, I'm going to play college baseball.
It's going to work for me.
Which, well, that can be next week's grind my gears, whatever. But, it's like, that's, like I said, that if you're really good, they don't just, like, miss. Like, you're not throwing 96 and they're like, oh, you're going to play next year? Like, no, like, no one wanted me. You got 140 feet and people are like, yeah, like, we just didn't see him. Like, we just didn't. And I don't, and in fairness to the parents and the athletes, like, I mean, we've been, operating in the amateur sports world for a while, and I would say that, the other people that work in the space would agree with us in terms of it's like a coach just doesn't see hit one ball and they're like, that's him, that's the kid. Like that's so rare. It's so like 0.001%. And like we always say, the 99% pay for the 1%. So then all those kids fall in love with that one idea. All I have to do is hit a double in front of this guy. We had when we were down in the playoffs at the WWBA championships. The kid pitching against us was like 14 years old, throwing 89. He had every school, every double off him. We had a kid had a double off him. It's not like that kid didn't get 17 phone calls after the game. They're probably like, oh, you could probably swing it a little bit. Like maybe we'll see him in 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like following us home. Like they weren't. Yeah. So I don't know. I think well, vote in terms of how the system actually works, and the other side of it is a lot of these colleges can't afford to pay all these guys full time. And, a lot of these guys have kids or, families, or they're just buying houses. In terms of the college assistant coaches and the recruiting coordinators and stuff, very rarely do you have, schools that can pay all these guys, full salaries. So when they have these camps and these winter showcases where you go through 15 pitches, all that money is going into the pockets of the assistant coaches. And I'm not knocking them for it. Like they got to do what they got to do to get these guys to make money. That's great. But I've been at camps and events and showcases where they aren't even paying attention, and that's not all of them. Some of them are absolutely great at what they do, and they're very serious and thorough, and they give every kid a really good shot. But I've also been to some of them where the guys back there are like, I really don't want to be here right now. I can't wait. So,
but Robbie, and it's so funny because why do people go to those? Why do those kids go to these camps? Because they're stealing someone else's process. They're saying, oh, if Johnny goes to that camp, I need to go to that camp. If you know what I mean? If Eric goes to camp, I need to go to the camp. Oh, if he goes to that tournament, I need to go to that tournament. So when you're results driven, you wind up literally just following everyone else. And then you're literally playing a game of musical chairs, hoping that someone sees you. And it's so backwards to how, we're talking about baseball, but life in general works. Life in general is always a meritocracy. You get really good, and then good things happen. You don't good things don't happen, and then you're like, oh well, now I'm gonna get really good. It's not backwards.
And the other thing, I don't think I can name one athlete that that's ever been part of our community that just showed up at one of those things and then just got oh, he was really good at that event. Like, let's recruit him.
Let's give him a scholarship.
I can't name any of them, and I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I can't think of any. Like, the ones that I think of that get recruited, especially by the big time schools, are the ones that train really hard and they work really hard and they've taken their game to the next level. And somewhere along the line, someone just happened to see them. They're like, oh yeah, we saw that guy. Like they didn't even know they were getting watched that day. And they're like, oh yeah, that guy saw me, and then he called me. Like,
Robbie, you don't have a Twitter, but like Steve, obviously, really good on Twitter. But like, you've seen the people tweet at the flat ground app with they were oh, this is my recruiting video. This is how hard I'm throwing. These are my pitches.
What up, boy?
And you'll see like how many uncommitted like juniors in high school. Oh, here's another 89 to 93 uncommitted. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many kids out there who are throwing like 89, 93 who are gonna get recruited. And then you got kids like Johnny who's throwing 79 going to North Jersey. Oh, let me go to my PBR event so I can get on the freaking website.
And this is
the new thing going around on Instagram. It's the hashtag Let the Kids Play.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like one of the worst things I've seen in a while.
Grandma's dead, right? That's the new hashtag.
So I don't know what is the process? Like what's the point of doing that? Like, do they actually genuinely think that they're gonna play high school baseball now because they're posting that video on Instagram? But most likely they're, for lack of a better word, clout driven. So they're just trying to get some views and likes and all that stuff. With everything else they do, it's just like the same thing they do, Robbie, with the post about being committed and being blessed and glad to receive my first offer, and then put a jersey on and take a picture.
That's because everything for them is so external, right? They need meaning from things that they're not controlling, which is, I'm not going to call him out because I don't even know if he's watching this or watches any of it. But
who's that?
I'm not going to say the name, but I get text messages from a high school pitcher all the time, every day, just like talking about different concepts, and like his brain is working this entire time that everyone's shut down. So while all these other kids are so focused on hashtag Let the Kids Play, he's trying to figure out how he can become a better baseball player. And I think the other thing that people don't realize, or the kids don't realize, is that that's why no matter, and I tell someone all the time, no matter what he does for the rest of his life, he's going to be so good at it.
Yes.
Because there's the mindset of,
Yeah.
I am going to figure out, like, I'm going to use this to my advantage, and while everyone else is sitting there, I'm going to get that much better.
And
So no one can do anything. Well, I'm going to do something, and I'm just going to figure out how to do something.